Welcome back to the Red Stool. And it's Friday, so we're talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Episode 4, The World is Watching. And this was a really good episode, just like overall. It had so much, just with the backstory that we got and, the character development. It presented so many things, let alone the fights and the crazy ending. But let's start at the beginning. And I like how they give us more context as to how Bucky got over, the Winter Soldier programming, and how he's in the cave with Io, and she reads off the command words, but mentally he responds, but it doesn't trigger him to turn into the Winter Soldier. So, he's effectively freed from the captivity of that Hydra programming. It seems as though the way they paint it in this episode, that Bucky and Io, they have some sort of, respect, or at least a decent rapport with each other, because, she was able to help him heal. And, he was there when they were fighting in the Battle of Wakanda. So there could be that respect there, that, okay, you helped us, defend Wakanda from Thanos, even though we lost, but, you were still there. So there could be, that warriors respect that they have amongst each other. So it's good to see that. And some more characterization that I liked was Carla's characterization, how they rounded her out a little bit more. I know in the last episode we ended with her, killing those soldiers they were hoarding the supplies that they needed. So, she ended up blowing up the building and killing a few of them and injuring more. So that's the last we saw of her, just being kind of, you see that she's taking things up a step. Like she's willing to use violence and kill if she deems it necessary. And interesting enough, in this episode, she's not looking to kill anybody like Sam or Bucky, but she will, however, kill Captain America, just because of everything that he stands for and everything that she thinks that SHIELD represents. So she's willing to kill to make a statement. And that says a lot about her. She does have a plan, that she doesn't see herself as just some sort of violent terrorist, that she's actually, what I'm doing is right, is justified, because, before the blip, people were welcomed all over the world, and the world was coming together effectively to, help each other out. And the world was better. You hate to say it, but, someone who probably agrees with what Thanos did, because it did indeed make the world a better place for her. And we're seeing that, that the decision that he made, the snap, it made the world better for some people. So basically, with the snap being undone to a degree, it's like putting all those people back where they were. It's sort of kind of, once the countries, they're starting to reset. There were a lot of people that were displaced. They're like, what? Okay, the people that used to live here before the snap happened, they're back now. So, this is their home. We're going to give it back to them. You can go elsewhere. And so you have people that are displaced everywhere, all over the world. But you see that they're not calling themselves refugees. We're displaced people. There's nothing that we were running from. Everything was taken from. It's not like we have somewhere else to go. We were displaced, and now we're trying to figure out what's going on. And so, of course, the easiest solution would be for everything to go back to the way it was. And that's why, the flag smashers are appearing. And what they're showing with Carla is, she's someone who's, she's very young and idealistic, and she feels as though she has a righteous cause, but more so, she has power. So with all those things, she's going to take on whatever institutions that are in charge now with all that, and be like, what, I'm right. I'm fighting for what's right. Which is where I like how the conversations with Sam's comes in, where he's like, listen, I understand you have a lot of valid points and you're right about many things, but if killing people because you have a point, that's not going to get you, that's only going to have you become some sort of tyrant, some sort of villain, and it's going to take away from your entire cause, and people are just going to paint you as a monster, or Zemo would call you a supremacist and an enemy of the state, whatever. You won't be, whatever your cause is going to be painted that way too. And even if you did have good arguments that countries and other peoples and systems could get behind, they're not going to get behind them now just because of that association that it has with you. So, you need to dial it back. Like, you can't be killing people. There's another way that we can go about this. And, you can see that she is able to be reasoned with because Sam's words, they hit home with her and they resonate with her. So she opens herself up to him a little bit in that conversation where she's like, okay, well, that's not what I'm trying to stand for. I'm not a tyrant. I'm not a supremacist. It's just what the world is doing now isn't fair. Like, why shouldn't things continue to be the way that they were when they could be better for everybody? But, of course, that conversation gets ruined and broken up by, Walker. And, she closes herself back up. But I'm glad with the writing, what they're doing with the writing is she doesn't completely turn away from Sam. Even though she thinks Sam set her up, she still holds out hope and is willing to talk to him because, of course, Sam isn't trying to play her. He's speaking the truth, and him and Walker, they're not on the same page, nor I feel like are they fighting the same fight. I feel like Walker he's engaged in his own battle, in his own fight, and Falcon and Bucky, they're in their own as well. So she can kind of see that separation between them. We could see, them develop some sort of a relationship in the future because you also know it's not like Sam wants to just like kill her or stop her or lock her up. He thinks that she's a victim and she needs saving, which is good, that he's able to see the good in other people and see the good in her cause. And he's trying to stop her before she becomes a monster. So I like that theme. And I hopefully they keep it going and it has a nice resolution. And, speaking of themes, we get back to John Walker. And as I said before, I know the shield, it's weighing on him heavy. And as every day goes by, he's feeling like he needs to prove himself. And he keeps looking at, the super soldiers, and he's like, man, I wish I was y'all. It would be so easy. I could just do this. I could just do that. It's not fair. Captain America had the super soldier serum, so should I. And like, it's pushing him to in my opinion, a darker place. And we also get more characterization on him too, as well as far as, the medals that he won. They don't tell us exactly what happened, but something bad. They managed to survive, maybe save some people, but it's not like some squeaky clean survivor story. Something happened. Something that is probably could be determined immoral or morally gray. They did something wrong and nobody really knows about it. They just know that they came back, and you can see that weighs on him heavy. And it starts this upset. I feel like it's at this point it's become an obsession with him just to get the super soldier serum. And of course he does get the serum and he does take it, but I feel like it's gonna be the beginning to his end. And the reason I say that is just because, one, we don't know what the side effects to this serum are. Now, we know the original super soldier serum had a side effect, and it was whatever was in you is enhanced. So if you're evil, that will be enhanced in you. So we just need to see that, if this serum, this particular version of the serum will have that same effect. And if it does, because we know that everyone who's taken it, I don't think they haven't had it in their systems for that long. So maybe those side effects haven't kicked in yet, but we don't know what the side effects could be. And I do believe that there are going to be side effects for taking the super soldier serum. Of course, we get another really great fight, and it was nothing more satisfying than seeing the Dora Milaje. They're walking in there because, of course, we're here to collect Baron Zemo. He murdered King T'Chaka, and yeah, he needs to answer for that. He's not in German jail anymore, so now he needs to go to Wakandan jail and deal with whatever consequences that there may be. I do agree on that, and it's going to be interesting because I was hoping to see that, okay, Sam and Bucky, they were going to use Baron Zemo to, track down Carly and get the serum and destroy. And they did. Baron Zemo, he was able to, when he slipped away, he was able to crush most of the serum vials except for the one that John Walker took. But they've effectively stopped the serum. The man who created the serum is now dead. So there shouldn't be any more super soldier business, except if, the government was to try to dig Isaiah up and go back to experimenting on him, and that door is definitely open for the future. So keep an eye on that. But also, I was hoping that once, they were done with Baron Zemo, that they would just sell him out to the Dora Milaje and, just wash their hands of it. Just like, oh, I don't know how he broke out of jail. The Dora Milaje, they came and stole him away because, he killed their king. So he has to go face justice in their country. We didn't have anything to do with that. And I was hoping, Sam will be able to get away clean with that because he has a lot to lose. Bucky, he doesn't really have that much to lose at this point. As far as he's concerned, his life is beyond him. His closest friend, he killed his closest friend's son and isn't able to tell him. So he's not ready to have a life yet. He's just mainly concerned with stopping the super soldier serum and Captain America's legacy. So there's that. But Sam, he has a lot to lose with being associated with Zemo breaking out of prison. So, I'm hoping that doesn't turn on him negatively, even though it very well could. So keep an eye out on that. But back to my point of the Dora Milaje, they come in and it's just a really great scene. I love how every time John Walker, he tries to assert himself as Captain America, like this is like the second time that he's tried to do it and it has not gone his way. The first time he got spat in his face. He's like, oh, I'm Captain America. Dude just spits in his face. And now, approaching the Dora Milaje, he's like, hey, he has this air of arrogance to him, and it's undeserved. And that's half of the reason why he gets talked to and treated the way he does. It's just because, calm down, you're not really Captain America. You haven't proven yourself. The government may have picked you, but we ain't pick you. So, but him trying to be like, oh, I'm Captain America, you need to listen to me, or that's not getting him far. And of course, he looks at him, he's like, hey, I'm Captain America here. Io, she's looking at him, she's like, with that like stern, just straight face, like, I don't care. Like I know I've seen the real Captain America. You're not him. Go, you and your little shield can go somewhere. And it's funny enough, that's exactly how I felt. The look that she has on her face when he came out in that costume in the first episode, that's the way I felt. But, so I definitely feel you there. But, of course, it escalates to violence and they just get beat up. Like, it's sad. And you can tell that the Dora Milaje, they were just beating them. They weren't, like, taking them fully serious. Like, they never made any, like, direct like stabbing motions towards their body with their spears, or we even know that they're capable of using like the little electricity to shock people, or it's kind of like a little laser like we saw that in Wakanda 2. They didn't do any of that. They was just beating on them. They beat on him, they beat on Hoskins, and at the end it's just so hilarious when the unnamed Dora Milaje guard, she just stomps on his shield and picks it up like Captain America would, and he's just looking at him and he's just looking up at her from his knees, like yeah, you Captain America? It's just so funny. And the way they're looking at the shield, like, well, this is made of vibranium. This is half constructed of vibranium. Vibranium is ours. Like, should we? How Ayo is, she's just like, leave it. Like, we don't want that. Like, he can have his little shield. So, of course, that scene right there, this one felt special. Now, of course, we saw him get beat on by the super soldiers in, the other episodes, but this one, it felt even better just to watch him get beat down by that. But, of course, in all this chaos, Baron Zemo, he's able to escape, and I feel like I saw it coming a little bit, but also I'm like, really, like, he gonna escape, and now he's gone. So, now there's probably gonna be issues, with Bucky and Sam helping him get out of prison because he's gone in the wind now, and there's going to be issues. And you also see that it seems like Bucky and Ayo, her relationship, their relationship is a little bit strained now since he tried to stop them from beating on the John and Hoskins. So she disconnects the arm from him, which was pretty cool. Like, she like hit a couple points on it and then it just fell off. But what I wonder about that is if John saw it and that way, if they get into a fight in the future, he'll know that there's a way to disconnect Bucky's arms if he hits the right point. So that, that could very well happen. John, or that very well could happen as well. But of course, this is John's, his cue. He's feeling lower than low after this happens, because he's like, yo, they're not even super soldiers, and they just basically beat on me. She picked up the shield like it was hers, and that's his trigger. That's his catalyst. He takes that super soldier serum because he's like, yo, John's not good enough. John needs this super soldier serum now. Now it'll be even. And finally we see him, and they have this last confrontation when Sam, he goes to have another conversation with Carla, and of course, the conversation gets cut short because Walker, he's about to attack her group of soldiers, and in that process, Hoskins, he gets killed. Carla punches him in his chest as hard as she can, and it just kills him. So, it was pretty graphic, and I feel like what happened afterwards just really shows us where all of them stood, because Carla, as she stated earlier in the episode, I don't want to kill anybody like you, Sam. I definitely kill Captain America because of everything he stands for and what it would mean for me to kill him. But I don't want to kill anybody that doesn't deserve it. So you could see just in her face and how everyone in that room reacted, like they were all shocked. Like they were like, oh. Like, it is just like the room was just so tense and still, and like nobody was doing anything because, of course, nobody knows what to do right now. Carla, she didn't plan on killing him, and I'm pretty sure her troops, they weren't planning to do that either, because everybody's just still. And so and of course, John, the way he reacts is he's out for blood immediately. He's able to, after Carla and her followers, they decide to run, he's able to chase one down into a public square. And he does what I guess none of us, well, I feel like I halfway saw this coming, because I knew he was going to have a turning point at some point. I thought it would be midway through the season. I didn't think it would be this soon. Like, this is episode 4, and he's already, he literally beat him to death. Now, he wasn't a threat to him anymore. He had him pinned, he knocked him down. There could have been a million things he could have did. He could have just restrained him, and there you go. You have somebody that you can talk to, interrogate, get some type of information out of, use as a trade, like, hey, I'll trade you this if, we can meet up, Carla, and then, try to stop things that way. But no, he's upset about, his friend being killed, and he just takes the shield and beats him to death with it. Like, he's bringing the shield down on his chest just over and over again. You just hear the thuds and the sounds. And of course, this is in the middle of a crowded public square. So everybody is watching the new Captain America beat this guy to death. And he's not even wearing the Flag Smasher mask at this point. Nobody really knows. Like, they just see him beating some guy to death in a foreign country. So, and of course, at the end of the episode, we just get this, I'm going to call it not iconic, but an infamous shot of the shield with it's covered in blood, and he's just standing there looking, and he can see everybody else and how they're looking at him. Of course, Carla sees this. So now any remorse she probably had about killing his friend is out the window, and she's going to be coming at him, who's ever standing next to him, or who's ever standing in her way, a lot harder. So this episode, I feel like Walker is now, I feel like he's a black character, like, that's existing in a gray world. He's unable to adapt and change, and in the cases where he needs to show mercy or, tact, he's unable to show that just because, he's black in a gray world. Like, he's a character painted black. Not to say that he's, African American, but, he's on one end of the spectrum and the entire world is gray. So there's no way for him to exist in any cohesive way in the world other than to make the rest of the world black too, because that's what he feels is right. And so that's good. I feel like that's some good storytelling there, to where as though you have somebody with Sam who he's able to see both sides of the spectrum, and he's able to, see, you have points, and there's middle ground where we can both meet that makes things better for everyone, where we're not shedding blood and it is not needless violence. So, Sam, he's really putting forth a great resume as to why he should have this shield. But of course, we have John. He just beat someone to death with it, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of the biggest things about next episode. It's just, okay, the world seeing Captain America beat someone to death, because we've never seen this. He's going to have that image of his stained and bloody. So we're going to see how things go forward, and I'm really excited about the series. Dora Milaje, coming in, they put the spears on him. That was definitely the highlight of the episode for me. Let me know, what did y'all like, as far as the episode? Like, what were your highlights? What do you think is going to happen? And please, definitely come back for more. Like, subscribe. I'm going to see y'all later, all right? Peace.